Hello, I'm Nigel Finn, the Technical Director, and I'd like to show you our senior technician producing one of the most challenging cables that we make. Simon's producing a Chord Indigo, but this time he's producing it with a 5-pin DIN termination at one end. This is a cable specifically for use with high-end DIN-equipped players, but it presents us with some unique production challenges. Everyone here is trained very thoroughly, but no one would make one of these without at least 2 years training behind them. Simon is about to shrink down the cable. He's just fitted them to the DIN plug, and now he's going to fit a heat shrinkable sleeving across the end of the DIN plug. We use a specially modified DIN to do this, which has been specially machined by a local engineer. A conventional DIN plug just doesn't give us the flexibility with the cable. Once the DIN's been secured, Simon can turn his attention to the other end of the cable. But first of all, of course, he has to fit the second piece of shrinking. The first piece of shrink that Simon fitted is an adhesive shrink and is there to secure the cable. This is a method that we like particularly because it involves any compression on the cable. By using a clamp that unduly compresses the cable, we feel the sound quality can be severely compromised. Simon has to be very careful with the shrink. It's got to be shrunk down extremely evenly. The cable's already been cut extremely accurately to length, but at this point, Simon will then take the cable and ensure that both runs of cable are going to be absolutely identical. The next process is to remove the Teflon outer jacket on the cable. This will reveal the triple shielding system that we fit to this cable. Simon's got a special pair of cutters which allows him to remove not only the outer jacket but also the 3 layers of braid as well. This reveals the Teflon insulated central conductor core of the cable. The next thing Simon has to do is to secure the braiding on each piece of cable. This particular action doesn't affect the performance of the cable, but it does guarantee a very neat and a very tidy finish. And it means that we can produce it to a high cosmetic standard that people would expect from a cable of this performance level. next action ensures that the cable is terminated correctly. The one thing that we don't want to do is to be rebuilding a cable as complex as this. So what Simon's now doing is ensuring that he has the right connectors going to the right place. This cable carries a stereo signal and there are twin earth returns. So what Simon must do is ensure that he has the right connection going to the right plug. Now Simon cut away the toughened insulation that surrounds the silver-plated central conductor. The conductor is tinned with a high-quality, high silver content lead-free solder. And the silver-plated central contact pin of the plug is fitted to the conductor. Like the cable, the insulation that surrounds the plug is built from Teflon. This is a critical joint, so this is one that Simon will take a great deal of care of, and then will ensure that he's made a secure and proper connection. Next, Simon needs to strip the central return core. This will allow him to fit the cable to the outer shield or the plug surround. The cable is tinned again and then bent in order to ensure that we make a secure fitting. This is our own plug. This is a very low mass plug surround. It's silver plated and is used on our signature cables, our anthem cables, and of course on our Indigo cables. Simon's cut the return conductor to length, and now comes one of the trickier pieces of soldering that we do. This joint has to be made strongly and it has to be made reliably and under quite difficult circumstances. Now Simon's preparing the other side of the cable. The process is exactly the same. The central signal conductor is tinned and the low mass silver plated RCA signal pin is fitted to the cable. We did a lot of research with the solders we used, and we finally settled on this one because we felt that this one gave a superior sound quality. It's not the most simple of solders to work with, but it does make remarkably reliable joints, and it does produce a very good sound quality. Every element of cable design and construction has to be considered in order to get the very best performance from the cable, and that stretches right down to the type of solder that we use. Once again, the return conductor is being stripped, tinned, and then folded back so that it can be so that it can be soldered to the plug surround. Because of our desire to avoid any sort of clamping action on the cable, because we feel at this level it will compromise performance, We've actually made this operation far harder than it would be if we used a more conventional plug, but we do feel that this plug offers a superior sound quality, therefore we really want to use it. Every action we do here is about maximising the sound quality of the cable. Now Simon's fitting the part of the plug that is quite unique to us. This is a hand-machined, diamond polished acrylic plug surround. We'd started playing with blocks of acrylic and found them to be very effective in damping resonances and vibrations. So the next logical thing was to look at having a plug surround made. We were very lucky. We found a company in the UK who specialise in machining high-grade acrylic and can work to extremely high tolerances. They produced us some samples which we found to be extremely effective, and we've now been using this plug for approximately 3 years. Once the surround is fitted, Simon pushes the braid up to the end, and then, as with the DIN plug end, fits first of all a piece of adhesive heat shrink. This secures the cable and provides strain relief, but once again without compressing the cable in any way. At this point, a great deal of care has to be taken to ensure that the surround is properly bonded to the plug. Simon's now checking for the left and right hand sides of the cable. This is in order to ensure that he fits the correct coloured heat shrink marker to the right side of the plug. This is the final touch. This is a piece of braid this is a piece of heat shrink that lets you know which direction to connect the cable in. Almost all our cables are directional. Directional in that they sound better when run in one direction than the other. So it's very important at this level to get this absolutely right. Simon once again makes a final position of the heat shrink and then takes a great deal of care in order to get this shrunk down absolutely accurately. With the right-hand side done, Simon can turn his attention to the final piece of adhesive heat shrink. Once again, great care has to be taken with the positioning of this. If Simon gets the position of this wrong, it makes it very difficult to shrink down the last piece of heat shrink that shows the direction of the cable. He also has to be extremely careful here not to burn the plug and not to burn the cable. The heat gun runs at a very high temperature, but this does ensure that the adhesive within the heat shrink melts properly and bonds properly to the cable. The final piece of heat shrink is added. Once again, Simon will have to be very, very careful with the position and will stop and adjust it as he goes. Simon turns the cable in order to keep the heat even as he shrinks it down. Once again, there's a final adjustment and then the heat shrink will be properly shrunk into place. And there's the completed Indigo. This is a 2 RCA to 5-pin DIN version